Welcome back, everybody. Season 2, Beyond the Bliss. My name is Dani. From the bottom of my heart, I'm so grateful to have you here. We have a lot to cover today before we dive into episode 1 of season 2 with my amazing guest, Zameer, who I will be talking about in just a moment. So I'm going to kind of try to just zoom right through so we can dive right into the alchemy that was created that you're about to experience on this episode. So I will start by introducing myself for anybody who is just joining in for the very first time. Welcome. Thank you for being here. And my name is Dani. I am the host. I'm not the only host anymore, but I am the host and the founder here at Beyond the Bliss podcast. And for everyone else who's been here in season 1, thank you so much for coming back. I feel so connected already. I can already feel your energy, and I'm thanking every single person who is listening to this right now. I love you guys. So season 2, we are blending a little bit of what I did in season 1 with human design. Anyone that's new here, Beyond the Bliss podcast aired for the first time in June of 2020. And Beyond the Bliss's intention and message was always one of connection. So it's bringing people together in their differentness and learning from that, and all of us being able to really expand our perspectives and our awareness just through experiencing the other person and hearing them and seeing them. And through seeing them and hearing them, we got to really witness ourselves in a new way and feel empowered. That was really always the main message of Beyond the Bliss podcast, was empowerment. To remind everybody that we have the power and we get to choose, and whatever you choose is right, and we all have that right. So everyone who came on to season 1, I thank you so much. We had 25 episodes. It was amazing. Every single one of the guests that came on the show really expanded my life, and I know expanded a lot of the people here in the Beyond the Bliss podcast community. So for season 2, you guys, we have the same mission. We're still going to have all of these amazing, incredible thought leaders and just beautiful souls sharing what's on their heart so we can experience who they are and allow that to change our lives or not. And maybe through listening to these beautiful people, we just learn something new, or we are able to see them and then allow them to move on their journey. And how beautiful is it that we got to cross paths. So in addition to bringing on these wonderful, wonderful, beautiful people, we're throwing human design into the mix, of course. And I keep saying we. When I say we, I'm talking about myself, and I'm going to introduce the new team here that's joining the stage. So I'm a part of a group called the Quantum Collective, which is myself, Miss Brandy Jordan, Chelsea Pierce, and Lynette Mickles. We are human design experts, and we're showing up in all the spaces to really share this beautiful tool that we love so much. So let's extend a huge warm welcome to these 3 wonderful women, because they will be popping in from time to time to assist and even lead some interviews. So today you'll really get to experience Brandy Jordan. Her and I are co-hosting on this episode. And in the future, you'll get to hear from Lynette. You'll get to hear from Chelsea a little bit more. I'll even be probably interviewed on some of these topics as well. And there's going to be so much exciting stuff going on. So to review everything I've just said, we came from such a wonderful season in season 1 with 25 episodes, so much trial and error, so much experimentation, so much that I learned that built this beautiful foundation that Beyond the Bliss is standing on today. And that's why level 2 can come, because this foundation is strong and just amazing. And I have all of you to thank for that. So thank you for being here and being a part of this community. And let's get ready for season 2. If you loved what I was doing in season 1, you're going to love this season even more. Maybe, who knows, we'll see. But there's just going to be a lot more depth and rawness. I'm really at a part in my journey where I'm ready to start speaking about the big stuff, the deep stuff. And I'm feeling a lot more confident in my ability to hold space and hold deeper space than I was holding before. So just get ready. We're so excited for all of our ideas that are floating in and shifting and changing all the time. So there's always going to be just something exciting coming up next. And I'm on that journey with you guys. I'm so excited to see where things go. If you're someone who is wanting to learn more about human design, you will absolutely love season 2. So what you can expect, and you're going to see this in today's episode, is Brandy and I will be interviewing Zameer. Zameer is a 3/5 self-projected projector on the right angle cross of rulership. He is such a powerful and inspirational leader, and just in his heart, you guys, he has such a beautiful perspective and awareness, and he's helping so many. He's just leading so many people and reminding them of their power within and just the empowerment. And he really aligns with so many of the same visions here at Beyond the Bliss podcast. So I know that you guys will love him, and he's amazing. So Brandy and I are going to be interviewing him together in the flow. And towards the end, we kind of do like a live little mini human design reading. So for anyone who's wanting to learn more, maybe you're a self-projected projector, maybe you're a 3/5, you can kind of start to just pick up on a little bit of the human design language that's going to be thrown in. So just don't worry if you're not at all familiar with what human design is. You'll definitely start to pick up on things, but you'll still be able to continue on and understand and connect with the show, even if you have no interest in really studying or experimenting with this system. So for anyone who wants to see Zameer's chart, my chart, or Brandy's chart, anytime an episode airs, you can go to Beyond the Bliss Podcast on Instagram. So that's at Beyond the Bliss Podcast. And I will always post the chart of the guests and then whoever was interviewing that day. So whether that be me, myself, Chelsea, or Lynette, the chart will be posted so you guys can reference and kind of look for things. That's definitely how I learn, is by having the charts of people and observing their life and these traits. So I'm not going to do much more about introducing Zameer because I feel that the episode introduces him beautifully, and I just want you to experience him. So we're going to dive right into the show, where you can hear Brandy and I just talking about Zameer and what he's doing out in the world and hearing from his perspective, and then throwing in a little bit of human design wisdom. It's a really, really fun episode. I'm so excited for you guys to witness it. And I just want to offer all my platforms in case anyone wants to get connected before we dive right in. I will start by talking about YouTube. So if you are more of a visual person, you can now head over to YouTube at Beyond the Bliss Podcast. And the video is posted of our Zoom interview. So you'll get to see the faces of myself and Brandy and Zameer, and it's really fun to kind of watch the body language and just what was happening on screen. We had so much fun in this episode, especially because we had no idea where it was going. We just showed up in the flow. So you can find us there. I'm going to put links to that down below in the show notes. You can connect at Beyond the Bliss Podcast on Instagram. You can find all of the women from Quantum Collective at Quantum_Collective, or you can connect with me directly at Desert Moon Yogi. We have a website for Quantum Collective, which is www.ruquantum.com. And of course, Beyond the Bliss Podcast is just beyondtheblisspodcast.com. So again, everything's in the show notes, from getting in contact with me, with the women on my team, and with our lovely guest today, Zameer. I am so excited to hear how this episode lands for all of you, and I thank you for being here for season 2. Let's dive right into the show, you guys. You remember the drill. Here we go.
Love it.
Just that deep breath,
Okay.
that grounding us into feet on the ground, butt in the chair. Filling our bellies, feeling our body. Connecting with the realms above and below and beside. Thank you. Gratitude for us being here. Gratitude for our guides. Let's do this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm here now.
You've been here.
Okay, so I'm putting your form away and I'm just going to speak from the heart in what I saw in you and why I wanted to interview you and bring you onto this show. So, well, one, I do feel it was frequency because I was just kind of led to your page and was connecting with your voice. But as I was doing sort of what Brandy said she was doing this morning, really just watching some of your videos and going through and seeing who you are to the world, I noticed a lot of like similarities in the work that Brandy and I and our team are doing with human design and how that's kind of being shown in, it's like this, you're showing kind of the same light but just a different shade of it, a different words, different language. And one of the things that I'm really noticing that's theming right now in the collective is, if you look at last year, 2020, right, we all got to see how different we all were. And then there was kind of this period of time where, and it's still going on, but where that differentness is causing a lot of separation in people. And I feel that the more we can, well, one, understand the differentness and its purpose, and that it's beautiful and perfect and imperfect as it is, but also notice that if we can really hear someone, they're kind of like, there's so much that we have that is the same. It's just where we label things and we compartmentalize things. So for example, we do human design, right? And someone might not like human design. So maybe that gets, let me pause and re-say that. I'm wanting to bring light to the beauty in our differentness, but also understanding that just because we label things as something doesn't mean they're different or wrong or bad. We're all here in love. We're all sharing tools and guiding and coming together in all these different ways. But if we can see how they weave together, I feel that will help us, because in this physical reality, when we can physically see or touch, that sometimes helps to understand the energetic behind it, the frequency behind it. So I just love seeing the similarities in all the different communities, however they're labeled, and kind of bringing them together so we can show this. What's the word, Brandy? Do you hear?
We've been walking arm in arm, but we just didn't know it.
Yeah.
That's bringing light and sight to the message that we all are sharing. That love is what there is, and however we get there is fine. There's a bazillion ways to my kingdom, right? But that the message is the same, and that divine selfishness is what we're after, and together, everyone being divinely selfish together is what will move us toward love.
Ooh, I like divine selfishness. I like that.
I think that it is the best way to describe the paradox between spirituality and the material plane. It's the best way to bridge those inspired movements. I think it's a great word because it is divinely selfish. I'm going to move mountains because of this inspiration that came through me. And supporting each other in doing that.
Yeah, totally. In our own unique ways. Yeah. Love it.
I love it. I love it too. I love that you weave through things that we weave through. We just speak different languages. It's the same words. the reprogramming our chemical composition. You talk about that. You just use different words. The connecting to the void so that the void can connect with you. You say that just in different words. We are all saying the same thing. We are all sharing the same message. So I think, is that where you're going, Dani?
Yeah, I'm noticing the similarities, and even in a lot of the work we do in human design, it's about surrendering and really pausing and noticing, rather than just reacting, right? So I didn't even realize this until I got randomly pulled into this mentorship, all about the divine feminine. And I started noticing my mentor there using a lot of saying the same stuff that my mentor here is saying. And it hit me, and I was just like, wow, I'm in my work in human design, I am learning how to be more in my feminine. And so it's just, I like weaving that together, because I feel that the more we see that we are the same, we just label things, or, the more we see that sameness, I feel it can bring this more sense of community. Yeah.
And when you said that, I felt the divine feminine and masculine in those words, divine selfishness, because divine almost annotates surrender and flow and womb, whereas selfishness almost sounds like yang, doing, getting. So it's both of them and weaving them together. But I think first, the flow needs to happen in order to hold the doing.
I would agree. I would agree that divine feminine actually creates a healthy masculine, in a sense, because well, in terms of like healing the unhealthy masculine, or even healing the unhealthy feminine, takes a little bit of the healthy masculine to go ahead and help with that. So it's a beautiful marriage. I love it.
That's beautiful. And I love how you mentioned too that you observe the blind spots. I loved how you mentioned that you are not hierarchically any different than anyone that you work with. It is only that you have a different thread in the tapestry. And so you're valuable. And so allow you, bring you into my world so that I can value from your thread in the tapestry. And
yes.
Beautifully
said. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm going to pause. Where do I want to go next? Well,
you want me to introduce myself?
Yes. So that, I think that's where I was going next. I was going to say, we just were like, let's talk about why we love you.
We just dove
and
right
want
in.
you here. Yeah. And I was actually just looking at, like your journey, your background, and a little bit of your story. I'm very intrigued by it. So I'd love to open that up to the listeners a little bit.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah. So my name is Zameer Kurji. I am. And, I take many forms. For the last 12 years, I was working as a recording artist, making lots of hip hop and R&B music, and really, really tapping into my creative outlet to create from a place of truth within myself. And with that came a lot of weaving webs of untruth because of misunderstanding myself and society. And with that also came clarity and clarification of those untruths through the music, and seeing how I could make one song that maybe wasn't exactly the truth of what I was feeling, but I knew other people would resonate with it, and kind of seeing how that felt inside. So like after I made a song like that, for instance, I would be able to tap into myself and see, well, it's cool. It's nice to get recognition for that. And it's really nice to know that I'm able, that I have that gift to like kind of paint a picture that resonates with someone else. But what I really, really get inspired by, and what both sides of myself really get inspired by, is the truth that's coming from within. And so probably about the later 3 years of my career, I decided to just write from my own perspective and write songs that were also manifesting the reality that I wanted to create. So using art as a manifestation property, and it resonated more, and it started opening me up to this whole my little alias, Mr. Nothing But Love. And that came about. I mean, that's been in the works for years. I remember growing up, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I had a password, Nothing But Love, for so long. And it kind of like has always been in my subconscious mind. And it finally, like, I've started embodying it as the years go on, embodying it. What does that even really mean? What is that Nothing But Love? And I'm like, oh, it's like the now at this point I can describe it as the truth behind divine feminine and masculine, and what they both are, just different expressions of the same. And learning to embody that more fully and more in balance has been my journey. So um that's kind of, it's crazy that music took me to that place, but it's also, I think music is such a great we'll call it a creative tool, right? To express our emotions, our inner world, to express how we're perceiving the outer world, which is also the inner world. Um, and to really bring that into like expressing yourself as creator, right? Or it's like a
Yeah.
way to express yourself as creator. There's so many ways to do this, but music was my way. And from there, I've always resonated with personal development work, law of attraction work. And I essentially took about, I don't know, like 7 years of like diving into the secret, and then like all the people who were in the secret, researching them individually, the Jack Canfields and the God, I'm gonna forget names here, the Esther Hicks, and all of that, and diving into their work. And then I was like, whoa, this rabbit hole goes super deep. So I'm like, what else can I uncover? Discovered spirit science on YouTube, and discovered Teal Swan and Aaron Doughty, and all these incredible people who were already embodying this work and learning to embody it. And I'm like, well, fuck, the music industry doesn't feel that great now. Feels all right, but it's like, this is just one aspect. This is like the creative aspect. What about the going within and untangling, and less untangling, more revealing of truth, and coming into acknowledgement of my resistant patterns, and all of that. So I did this thing called the Mastery of Transformational Training in LA in 2018. And what happened was my heart just broke wide open, staring into the eyes of 200 individuals for a minute each, doing dyads and all sorts of exercises, to really get to know another human being, which is something that I had been numbing for years, being in the music industry. I was smoking cigarettes from the age of 15, doing uh, all sorts of party drugs with friends and all of that. And I was like, well, I came to realize at this transformational training, like, what is it that I finally asked myself, what am I numbing? Like, what is it that I'm numbing here? Why do I feel the need to even take these? Am I trying to fit in? Am I afraid of being misunderstood? What is it? And what it really came down to was it was less about finding out specifically what it was. Until this day, no matter how deep I feel I can go, and I can go deep and have these extreme levels of rebirth within myself, where it's like goes from tears to laughing within the matter of like minutes, and have these extreme moments of awakening within myself. It's less about the what, and it's more about the what. I know what it's not, and so therefore I know what is, like, what I should be putting my focus on. So every time that I feel that, what is it not, or what, like feeling that resistance, I guess you could say,
Mhm.
I just sit with it. Whatever it is, it doesn't make a difference. I use this analogy in another video. If you get shot with an arrow in the arm, you're not going to pull, or you're not going to go looking for who shot it at you, and all of that, right? You're going to first pull it out, tend to the wound, and hopefully just go about your life counting your stars that you're still alive, right? And trying to create a better atmosphere for yourself, so you're not in the middle of crossfire, maybe. And so that's kind of how I've approached my awakening, where it's like, yeah, there's certain things that I can identify, that I'm awakening within, and then there's certain things that are just pure emotion that maybe won't have an answer, and learning to be okay with that as well. which led me to becoming a coach, because I was like, why is there this calling? Why is there this calling to really start awakening people? And I'm like, I might not know what it is, but I know the feeling that I get when I coach people, and I know the connection that I get, and I know what that is. I know what that feels like. And so I just took the leap of faith. I released my last album called Love right when COVID, probably about 3 months into COVID hitting. And it was language of varying emotions. I was going through a lot of emotions. So I love that acronym for
Yeah,
love, language of varying emotions.
beautiful.
And then I was like, okay, I'm putting a pause on music. I had already paid for this course to get certified in this certain quantum work with coaching. And it was all encompassing. It's everything that I've done for my awakening within myself, the healing that I did intuitively was somehow packaged divinely by this man, Chris Duncan, and
Mhm.
put together in a way that I could, and it had the business model and everything attached to it. And I'm like, well, okay, I get the message. Thank you. Like there's no denying this. So the invite was there for Projector, right? I got that invite, and I at the time I didn't know that that was a thing. I kind of intuitively just answer calls when I feel called. Sometimes I answer too many calls, and then I'm like, I need an operator, help me
Mhm.
out.
Mhm.
But this one was one that I felt very strongly. I'm like, yeah, this is something that I don't need to do, but for some reason I really want to, and I know that there is another level of myself that's about to be revealed to myself.
Mhm.
Um, and I jumped in. So for the last year, building this business to launching it to now being a quantum alignment coach and um, creating programs for people to go ahead and understand heart-centered entrepreneurship and things like that has been my journey now with the side of music. So I'm still a part of a team called the Orange Collective, and we still make music together, and it's really cool. We're after this album that we're releasing in 2 weeks, I'll be stepping away from that work as well and just fully being here and then creating my own art as a solo artist from a new space, just completely. I wanted to see who I was without music
Yeah.
because I knew that was all I knew. So I wanted to see who am I without music, and that's where this journey has taken me. I hope that
It
all
was
tied
so
together.
good. Yeah. It was so great.
Thank you.
I first wanted to just like recognize your awareness, just hearing your journey. I mean, personally, I relate to your past in a lot of ways, and it might be our third lines here. It's a human
Mm,
design reference, but it sounds like you, along the whole journey, I mean, we didn't go deep into it, but even in those moments of maybe feeling really lost or not knowing where to go,
mhm.
oftentimes people, we search externally, but it sounds like you really had this beautiful awareness and trust to that you needed to look in here, or you wanted to look in here. You didn't need to do anything, but you chose to look inside and internally and start to notice. I'm hearing so much of like in the work that we do. That's why I was just like, oh, I'm so excited. You proved my point in the beginning. But really, like you said, you started to notice what was you and what
Mhm.
wasn't you. And that's exactly what we do in human design. But
Mhm.
our tool is a map or a chart, and your tool was music, and I love that. And it just it drills that in even more, that like we can do this work with music, with garden. It can be anything. It doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter what you wear, it doesn't matter what you're labeled as, it doesn't, you know what I mean? So
Totally.
that going within to really understand who am I and who am I not, because we all are each other. We all try to be each other sometimes, and it's not a bad thing, right? If I see something in you that I admire and
Mhm.
it moves me, I feel it's a natural. I feel like it's a there's a way to explain why people want to mimic, because they admire things, and we start to chase these things that we're not sometimes. So it doesn't mean that those things are wrong, they're just not us. And it sounds like you really found out, for the most part, for where you are, like who you are. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that. I love the concept of us being mirrors of each other. And when we see that thing that you just mentioned, that we spark within each other, that interest, it's almost like it's there is that bit of excitement within you, otherwise you wouldn't be excited about it externally, right?
Mhm.
There's things that we don't value, that we just like. For instance, I don't like watching the news. So I don't even find interest when I see it on. Like my mind just immediately is like, okay, what else is interesting around here? Like I just don't have that draw to it. So yeah, I totally believe like our external also is a great reflection mechanism for us to kind of see, where am I resonating? And then sometimes it's like, why am I resonating with something that is totally not great for me? And figuring out what that is within yourself. So when we can start to see that we're just looking in a mirror all the time, I think
Mhm.
that's a great tool as well.
And as you know, quantum physics, the quantum reality of it all, is
Mhm.
that when we see something that we are not in resonance with, it is inviting us into greater resonance to
Yes,
what is.
totally. Hmm.
So it's just a matter, it's keeping us on our trajectory. And when we feel the connection with someone, and that's a divine appointment
Hmm.
within us to rise to that occasion. And I think that that is what pulls us forward in our trajectory in this plane, is that resonance or dissonance. And so we're always doing this game and creating a reality in every moment.
Totally. Totally. I love that.
Mhm. And you, I'm going to resonate a little bit with what Danny was saying about noticing your human design chart, right? Human design is not the end all be all. It's just a tool to use to figure out the this and the that of who you are and who you think you are.
Hmm.
And then you shed it, and then you move above it, and you just be who you are. So listening to you talk, I love to hear it because
Like
it is
that.
an indication of your alignment with your divine appointment.
Hmm.
Of what I hear is exactly what this chart tells me.
Oh, beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Totally. Yeah.
And I'm looking at it, I'm like, yep. And I'm,
Yep. That's
wow.
why I was smiling so hard. I'm like, oh my God, I hear this, I hear that. So yeah,
And
Uh-huh.
we're
we just
huge nerds here
so
with
blown away. Well, I get honored. It almost feels honestly like I am humbled, like I want to be at the feet of the people who show up as who the divine brought them here to be.
Mm.
I want to bow at your feet and say thank you for your work. Saying thank you for shining like you shine, because that means I get to shine too. This is the mirror. This is what we're doing together. So thank you.
Wow, thank you, Brandy.
Wow.
Like I'm getting choked up right now. Thank you.
You speak so beautifully of your, so you, the divine brought you here to be this this vessel that feels so deeply and then goes within to figure out what the truth is, and then shares and brings everyone along in that truth. That is your divine appointment. That is what you are born to be. You are here to make sure that on this plane, you survive, not just survive materially, but thrive in the joyous Maya that this is.
Hmm.
And then to turn around and bring everyone else you see with you.
Yeah.
That is your divine appointment.
Yeah. Thank you. I received that, and it took me a while to really accept one or the or to accept them both as one, the Maya and the truth.
Mhm.
Because I was once so heavily wrapped up in the Maya, and it wasn't like I was thriving in that, right? In a sense, maybe not financially, but I was thriving in the creation of the illusion.
Mhm.
And then I was then thriving in the deconstruction of it. And even that, it took a lot to like, we haven't gotten into like the dark night of the soul or any of that, but
Mhm.
like that was a part of the process as well, and still is at sometimes, right? Like you get a little kind of like reminder that, oh, there's still something here to deconstruct, or at least to bear witness to and acknowledge. And I
And then
think
tune into the higher elevation, what it's inviting you to.
exactly.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah,
Mhm.
nailed it. Nailed it. So it's of course it's been a journey, and we all know we're all on our own journeys, and we know what what this might entail for us. And it's so cool. You mentioned it at the beginning, you know, we're all just saying the same thing in different ways. And you can say the same for our journey. Our journey is saying the same things in different ways. Our actual experience is saying the same thing. It's just, it's speaking to us through these experiences that are leading us all individually to our path of least resistance on that journey to love. So I love that.
On that journey to love. Oh, and I want to say that my password when I was younger is love is all there is 8.
Oh my gosh. Should I tell you guys one of my passwords?
Go ahead.
It's not as like cool.
We're
It's
gonna
really
have to change all of our passwords after
We
the
are,
podcast.
yep.
it's so dumb, but this was my password for years. And I was just like, okay, I want to do 1, 2, 3. And I thought of what rhymed with that. So my password was 1, 2, 3 PIG. But then I was like, but what if someone thinks of that? So then I did 2 G's. So definitely not as deep as you guys. That was me as a kid.
I love it.
If
So
you really want to embarrass us, we could go back to like you had an AOL screen name, right? I'm sure.
oh yeah, do you want to know what mine was?
I do, yeah.
Magic Zam.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
Mine was Jordan Spitfire.
Nice.
Oh, you've had it that
I
long?
like that.
Yeah, Jordan Spitfire. Yeah, has been my very first one.
I love that. You said
I
Spitfire?
had 2, yeah.
That's like a term in hip hop. When you spit fire, it's like you're on point. Yeah.
And that's kind of how it was meant. I was given the name Spitfire. You don't piss me off because I'll spit
Nice.
fire at you verbally kind of thing. That's why I was given that.
Love it.
In my not self days of being a man.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, but I'm like, maybe she's gonna say it. I'll let her say it.
Yeah. I'm a manifestor. So when I am acting outside of my alignment, I am one angry ball of fire.
And we Zameer, it may show up for us in bitterness.
Yep.
And a little, I
Totally.
say resentment too. I feel like resentment and bitterness for sure.
Yeah.
We're either doing too much or we're giving when we're not asked. And yeah.
I noticed this with I just got a dog about a month and a half ago, and I love my dog. I love him to death. He's just, or I love him to life, I like to say. And he, you know, sometimes I'm just like so wrapped up in my creations that I'll get out of it and he's barking and I'm like, dude, I just took you for 3 walks in an hour and you're barking at me and I fed you. I don't know what you want right now. And like that, approaching it from that, just in that moment, I don't know what you want right now, not only creates that reality from my bitter perspective, because I'm so wrapped up over here. I'm learning, I'm still learning. I named him Guru for this reason. I knew he was going to teach me some lessons. And so now I'm learning, like, take a deep breath, reset the moment. Okay, what's needed for all beings in this moment to thrive? And that's how I'm starting to approach it more so. But yeah, I noticed the bitterness patterns in that moment, like having responsibility for another being, whether it's an animal or a person, it's still a being, right? And learning my life from that perspective. I kind of got a dog at the most busy time of my life, and he came in to be like, yeah, you think you're busy, but you're capable of way more than you even think you are. So I'm going to show you that. And so I'm learning to rise to that occasion.
And you're capable of it in presence.
In present, exactly. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah. But that bitterness.
I get it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And that bitterness just shows up sometimes and you're like, oh, it's cool though. It's nice. That's why I find value in human design. The more that I'm hearing about it, which I would love to hear more from you guys about specifically what the things mean in my chart, because I'm very curious. But I personally have like kind of had resistance towards astrology, human design, up until recently, realizing like, oh, we ask like, oh, well, if we're the creators of our reality, how come there are certain things that we attract that we can't say that we really attracted? Well, there's divine appointments. It's written in the star. There are things that you chose prior to coming here that you wanted to grow through. And that is a part of you because it's all happening at once. There is no time and space. That version of you that was coming into the world is still guiding you right now in the world. And so
Yeah.
it's really cool to see it from that lens. And now I really, really understand, oh, wow, these manifestations of all these different tools that we can use, they're just, it's a testament of our abundance.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I just knew you were going to be on this podcast. I knew you had to be on this podcast, and I just had to share. One of the main intentions of me starting this podcast was I really wanted to kind of debunk the mystical, debunk the woo-woo, like bring more clarity into, I mean, everything we're talking about here. Like, hey guys, we're all talking about the same thing. Okay, you don't like astrology? Well, we can talk about the science, so there's ways that I feel like the more we can understand the person that's in front of us and what they need to not only hear and receive what you're saying, but to feel safe in what you're saying. It's like when we can really understand the other and accept them in that differentness, then we can almost, we can communicate more clear. It's the infinity symbol that, my mentor was just, Brandy was just showing me at her house the other night. Like it's that infinity, like we're keeping that connection open. And I think that's something, well, I know that's something very, just meaningful to me. So I just wanted to acknowledge that in you.
I love that. Thank you so much. I
Yeah.
receive. And Brandy, I love infinity. It's actually something I was gonna start a YouTube channel about a year or two ago called Infinity Affinity.
Oh, I love it.
It's like the
Nice.
affinity for infinity.
For infinity, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why it was love wins every time 8, because it was the infinity. Love win every time, every time, every time.
Oh, you guys are so cute. All your love synchronicities.
Yeah. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
it's really awesome. And it's just it's the foundation of truth, right? Whatever that means. But it's the foundation of, I think, the truth of what we're doing on this plane. I love, Zameer, that you talked about the arrow. I use this arrow analogy all the time.
Oh, nice.
The arrow going in, what I talk about is being able to, instead of those arrows hitting you and bleeding, we're going to come to the place where the arrow comes right through you and you embrace the one who shot. Because that is what we're here for. We are not here to be stopped by these frequencies that we experience. We are here to dance with them, to move through them, to be invited to either side of them, to get to know them, and then to almost encompass them on our journey. And now we're all walking together. There's without resistance. The arrow had to hit, right? The arrow had to hit, and then it had to bleed, and then you had to pull it out, and you had to be able to move forward and still create. But if you don't reconcile the frequency in which the arrow came from, then you're not completely taking all, well, you're not one anymore. You're still separated.
Right. You're not running from anything. Yeah. I love that. You even when you're talking and you're flowing, it's a divine feminine. You can tell you've embodied that very much. I honor that. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. I am a 2 in human design. I carry what's called, I'm not going to own it, I am human design mechanic that I was born to express is that of a 2. And what a 2 means is someone who, very basically, sometimes I say this to the teenagers that I work with, is to be the macaroni, move Brandy out of the way and let the cheese flow. And in order to do that, you have to be in your body, you have to let whatever's coming come. But so if I'm sitting here like this, I'm not allowing that to happen. So
right.
My design.
I love that.
Yeah, me and her opposite in ways with my first line. Like, so when I'm the one that will, like, she's, in the flow state versus with my first line, I may want to plan a little more, structure a little more. I may have actively in a yang way gathered facts and information versus, not saying that we don't all do these things, because the main profile type, so you're a 3-5, that's about 70% of who you are, but it's not all of it. So we all go through these phases in everything in life, but I may have more actively gone down the rabbit hole to research and do my findings or learn how to do something, versus a 2, like Brandy may be more moved by spirit and not be able to really explain how she knows what she knows. But then I can tell you,
in meditations or in downloads or in, I'll be looking at you and all of a sudden just this whole movie will start playing that I have to start explaining.
Right.
Whereas she's researching. So we come to the same conclusion, but she can prove it on the plane. And I just have to be the channel.
Got it.
Get to be the channel.
What is the 3-5 in that case?
Yeah, let's talk about his 3. So Brandy, I feel this is, I want to hand it to you.
I would love to talk about this, because this 3-5 profile is one of my most favorites, because you have such a binary.
Me too.
You have this 3, and when I say this 3, this is an experimenter. This is someone who trials and errors through everything, but you want to consume it. You're almost like fire. Like you want to taste the cup and everything that cup means. You want to taste black and white and porcelain and this and that, and you want to smell it and you want to experience, you want to consume it. And then you move to the next thing and you want to consume it. You move to the next thing and you want to consume it. And these consumptions, these adventures are expanding all of our possibilities, because the rest of us and the other numbers are just doing what we do. We're doing what we do. You are consuming everything. We're doing everything the same way over and over because that's what we know. And you are expanding our possibilities. You are expanding what is possible for all of us. When I climb on a ladder, I read the instructions. I open the ladder, I put the thing down, I climb on the ladder. When you climb on a ladder, you're like, let me put it against the wall. Let me put it on the chair. Let me put it on the table. Let me see all the ways there are to climb this ladder, because that's kind of boring. You don't ever really want to do things right the first time, because that robs you completely of the whole experience. You want to figure it out, taste it all, so that's your mind, that's your 3. And then your 5 is in your body. Your 5 is this universalizer of a new truth. So this 3 experiments and consumes and adventures and pushes the edges of everything that we think is possible. And then your 5 turns around and leads everybody towards the new truth.
Got it.
Your 5 is someone who sees things that other people don't see, but you didn't always know that. And so you got maybe angry or upset or disappointed that the world was such a shitty place to be, because
misunderstood.
If you saw things this way and you knew things were still messed up, then why didn't everybody else see that? And if nobody else saw that, then that means you can't trust anybody.
Right.
That's hard. So then you've learned in this beautiful time that you've been on this earth that you actually see things in a different way than other people do. And it's not that everybody else is bad, wrong, and shameful. It's just that you have different sight. And so now you've learned to use this different sight to come into the world and practically explain to people how to move forward. You see all 10 steps, but I don't. I'm on 3. And you've learned to come to 3 and to walk me to 4 and to celebrate with me, and then to walk me to 5 and celebrate with me, and walk me to 6 and celebrate with me. That is the beauty of the 3-5 profile. And I'm going to put some icing on this with your projector, your self-projectorness. Because that 3-5 that I just talked about, like that's like the coat you put on when you came to this world. That's your costume. That's not your vehicle. It's not your vessel. That's just what you adorn yourself to be. Your vessel is a guide. You are here as a projector. You are here as 20% of the population that is able to understand what the best use of my energy is in this world. What you have resonance in your body, whether you have language for it or not, your body has resonance to a frequency that is in discord or a frequency that is in resonance. And your body knows how to take a discord and move it here to resonance. No language needed. It's not necessarily about language. Your body knows this. And if you follow your body's wisdom, it will tell you how to do it every time without your mind's involvement.
Wow.
You are here you are a creative role model and a prodigal. You know what the word prodigal means?
No, please enlighten me.
The prodigal story in the Bible is the child that left its tribe, its village, its home village, and traveled the world and got these lessons and got all of these experiences, and then came home and brought their village, their tribe, into the next level of their greatness.
Wow.
This is the I remember. This is the you go and experience and experience and experience, and then you come home and you say, I remember what I learned, and this is it. And let me guide you towards the greatness that you are with this, what I remember. That's one character. There's another one there's a few others. There's another one.
He's like, there's more.
There's more.
Yeah, I'm like,
He's melting. I
feel
it.
so seen right now.
Yeah.
Good. That's what I'm here for, is to impact people and to have them feel seen. I'm on the cross of incarnation. I am here to give you a knowing that you've been here before and you will be here again, and what your path is today, right now. That's why I'm here. So you also have this beautiful creative role model that I'm listening to just ooze out of you in this beautiful way. This your art, your music, your self-projectorness. So if you imagine yourself a guide, and the way that you are designed, and not all projectors are designed this way, you are designed this way, and I think it's about 3% of the projector population is defined this way.
Interesting.
So not only 20% of the whole population, but now 3% of that.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. That's the self-projected. Just I'm hearing the listeners here. So if you're a projector with self-projected self-projected authority, that's what she's referencing. That's what Zameer has. Yes,
is self-projected. That means that your identity and your throat are your authority. That connection between your identity and your throat is your authority. Now, when I say authority, that's how the divine speaks through you. That's what I mean by authority. We have been caught up in this idea for the past few thousand years, since we've gotten our prefrontal cortex and our amygdala, that our brains are what move us through to success in this space.
Right.
That we know that's not true. And that our brains are really just a muscle to be picked up and used in experiences to be intelligent, but not to really guide us on this plane.
Right.
So we all have an inner authority, and yours is what's called self-projected. And it's connected through that prodigal channel and through this creative role model that says, I'm going to speak myself. That's how I'm going to guide, is how I speak about what I feel, about how I speak about what I've been through. I'm going to use myself and project it through art, through music, through guidance. And this is what's going to lead the world. This is what's going to be the beacon for everybody who is for me, my fractal, to find me. Your song is
Just why I thought it was so beautiful when he was telling his story, how you said, basically, just to put it into like a sentence, you kind of were talking about how you didn't feel like yourself, or you wanted to go within. And then it was, I don't remember what you said exactly, but it was when you said you pivoted in your music to start talking about your experience. That's where I was like, see, you're doing what we would call is you're experimenting and deconditioning with human design. But basically you learned that what is authentic to you is sharing your experience, because you have that third line profile, because you speak from your identity, and your identity is coming through in your voice and in your words. So when you're not speaking from your experience, it may be just a piece of it may be from someone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And you are the thinker. Oh, I'm gonna let you just marinate in that.
Yeah, just bathe in it. I love it.
Thank you guys. I honestly did not expect this to be the experience today. So thank you so much for this container.
You are so welcome. This is our joy, right? When we can be who we are, it is just, it's a gift for both of us. That's the infinity that Dani and I were talking about the other day, is that when we are in relationship, this is relating, and we have this infinity of energy, it fills us both in such a beautiful way. So to be mindful of being present and not having to know the answer allows that infinity to continue.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
Mhm.
Like even I was thinking, I'm like, well, it's like something that I've known about myself in certain ways, but to hear it expressed in my outer world now, right? Seeming outer world, it brought it full circle for me. So I know that this is like divinity affirming.
Mhm.
So thank you.
Oh, it
And I
always is.
yeah.
Mhm.
You're
It's
welcome.
kind of, it's what one of the things Brandy always says with our quantum collective is like, we won't really ever tell you anything you don't already know. We're
Mhm.
just there to reflect back to you who your chart says you came here to be, and then for you to go on and contemplate. Now you have you've brought the unconscious to a more conscious awareness. You see this stuff in your physical reality, maybe you put your chart out there and then you get to decide. So that's what I love about this system. Even if your chart says this isn't who you're supposed to be, like you get to say what feels right for you by going within, just how you have been doing. So that
Absolutely.
empowerment, which I know you talked about when we were emailing, that's one of your main messages too, is like showing people that they have the power. And that's a huge piece of, I think that's written in my like mission statement on the website. I haven't looked at my website in a long time because we've been on a pause, but yeah, like showing people like you have the power, but you also have the authority. You also get to choose, and nothing is wrong ever. Everything is
And we
All a part
always
of it.
have this mythology. All of us have a certain mythology that we're going through that gets us, that we get to get confused. We get to find who we're not. And there are things that are in your design also, if you want me to go there,
Yeah,
that
please.
could take you off of your trajectory a bit,
Uh-huh.
which when our brain knows these things, our brain is always going to move our bodies towards what supports life. And
Mhm.
our conditioning has just programmed our brains that say being passive supports life. We've programmed our brains to say, you better not be too big.
Mhm.
You better listen to everybody else. You better, right? We've programmed our brains to think that these things support life. What I do with human design is help program your brain toward actual things that are your mythology, so that when you see them, your brain says, oh, I have neurology that says that's not for me. So now you don't spend 7 years outside of your trajectory doing some shit that ain't for you to do.
Wow.
yeah.
So
That's epic.
there are a couple of things, and this is that wheel of samsara that we've been in for thousands of years, is that we've been caught in the loop of doing shit that's not for us to do. And the creator is so benevolent, this energy just keeps coming back to do all of the stuff that it is meant to do. And it will come back over and over and have opportunity after opportunity to complete this task. But if
Yeah.
we know the game we're playing, let's fucking play it.
Mhm.
I
And
love it brings me to just one of my favorite, I guess, articulations that you use to describe this very thing. I just wanted to bring this in as well because it's so powerful for me. But it's the analogy of if the universe was my body and all of the people on it were the cells that keep me alive and keep me healthy. A cell is a cell is a cell. It's a cell. It doesn't matter if it's your heart cell or a liver. It doesn't matter which cell it is. It's important for the continuity of evolution, for my body, for survival. We are all needed. So, our cells, if our cells in our body were like all the liver cells wanted to be heart cells and all the heart cells wanted to be over here, and then these wanted to be over here. And, we have this chaos or disruption or distortion or whatever you want to call it.
your
That's
heart cells turn
literally,
into liver cells. It just doesn't work.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we're not telling people, it's like we're just with the chart. It's like you are able to see like just kind of where your greatest purpose is. So like if you're a heart cell and you want to be down in the liver, that's fine, but you'll serve a greater purpose if you're finding like either the true power of your purpose. So I mean, we can all do whatever we want always, and everything is always perfect, and it has to be if we're here.
Right.
But yeah, I just love that analogy as well.
That's so synonymous with my experience with music, where it's like, yeah, I was there and I was loving the experience, but I'm like, well, I kind of feel like I can create more activation here. Like my efficiency will be better nurtured in the environment of coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say that music will ever be gone from my life. I know like there is that there has been that thought for myself where I'm like, I have to choose one or the other, but I realize that even that's just an illusion. It's just it's a programmed kind of thing. You have to be one or the other, be one dimensional. But I've since I've stepped away from that paradigm and I've kind of stepped back from it and been able to see the full picture of it. I can see that, like, one moment I might be making music, and one moment I might be on stage rocking a show, and then the next moment I might be coaching a one-on-one client really intimately, and then one moment I might be coaching a whole class, and one season I might even put aside to just put together this program because I know that all my energy needs to be here for a moment, and just like you said, what you said about kind of enveloping something until like it just disappears and is me, kind of
Yeah.
is my process. It totally is my process, where it's like, that's why I stepped away from music, because I'm like, if I have this active in my field right now, because I have so much draw and love for music already, it's going to distract me from being able to envelop this fully.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then share it.
That makes perfect sense. Danny, did you want to go there before I go into the other part?
I'm just calling out the synchronicities because
Yeah.
as you were talking, I was literally thinking, yeah, that's exactly what she's saying about the cup, like how you want to be in all of it. And so we all can experience this, but for anyone with a third line, it's kind of what we're referencing in human
Mm-hmm.
design. That is the 3 of wanting to experience everything. And we do have a big process of, it's called making and breaking bonds. So we want to go to something and then break the bond and then go back and then break the bond. And I was just hearing the 3, and there's a lot about the 3 there, but we can kind of
Yeah.
pivot.
I think what you were saying is that bonds made and broken, in that you come and you devour up, right? You devour it. But you don't know your truth about your devouring a cup right now. You got to go away.
Right.
And then you'll know your truth after you digest what you devoured.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of guilt with 3s in that. I know in my past, like how you talked about, you were all these things and wanting to say like, well, what, like label the one thing. I felt shame because I thought I didn't have it figured out, but little did I know I was in alignment. I'm supposed to
Yeah.
taste everything. I'm not supposed, you know what I mean? So it's so
You're
cool.
Yeah.
so multidimensional and pushing the boundaries of what we all know is possible. I imagine, so I got one of those, I saw the movie when you were talking, and the
Awesome.
movie was you standing there, or you were on stage singing your song about this,
Wow.
about this.
Yeah.
This is what you were self-expressing. Ooh, well, you connected with it.
You felt it?
Yeah, all over my body.
I'm so excited right now.
So this is a beautiful segue to these 2 very dominant parts of who you are, Zameer. You have your head and your ajna. So I'm going to show you, you can see this. You see how the yellow square and the green square, there's a little black line that points down to the throat center, but there's no connection there. There's no energetic connection. The colors don't continue. You see how the colors continue there, the red
Yeah.
and black. So there's a disruption in energy. And you were designed this way, nothing bad, wrong, or shameful.
Right.
So what I have expressed to you before, all of the charts characteristics I was talking about before, are these lower aspects of you, these 2.
Got it.
Now I'm going to talk about this one.
Awesome.
So that selfness, this is your truth. This is who you are. This is how you guide. This is how you will hear your authority, not your mind. That self, that expression, talk to people who love you, who you love, who you trust. And when you speak, that's when you're going to hear your truth. You saw there was no connection there, there's no energy connection. So you need to speak, it needs to be in the field, then your head will pick it up, and then you'll know your truth. It's a process.
Got it.
So it's not like you're sitting here trying to figure out your things and you're silent and you're writing your notes and you're journaling. You're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah. That's so funny. And then I also get the perspective from people who love me, and they're like, well, you know, you shouldn't quit music. And then I'm sitting with that, and I'm like, well, fuck, am I doing something wrong right now by stopping music for now, or am I
Yeah.
just not letting you know fully what my intention is here? Because it's not
Yes.
to quit music, it's just to step away for a moment.
Exactly. This is my point. Let me take this right here to be your self-projected authority, because you said what you said to someone you loved. Someone you loved said what they said, and you found your truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's how this works. It's not about taking what they say as your truth
Right.
or listening to what they say even as something that you're feeling pressured by, but just to hear it so that you can nuance your truth, so that you can answer back and say, oh, no, 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 no. I hear that's what you heard, but this is what I really want.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say it's really important for self-projected authority to, make sure you have someone that sees you, especially, that sees you, and is willing to give you that space to really speak freely, and for you not to get in your head or think about what you're going to say. And then also, don't judge what comes out. Like, just let everything flow and be with someone that won't judge what comes out either, or won't try to convince you of something, but just kind of, I guess you could call that sounding board, right, Brandy? And so it's
Yeah.
like the other person's kind of saying things back to you. And if you know that they're in a neutral space of knowing that, hey, I'm Zameer, and for me to, because my authority is in my body. I feel a feeling. I have a splenic authority. So my spleen tells me what's correct for me. You have to speak it out. So, like, being someone that knows that as you speak, you discover your truth, and not to judge anything or try to control anything will be really, really supportive for you.
Wow.
Basically.
Yeah, the amount of times that I've had conversations that, like, someone will be looking in my eyes and they're like, "You're having a moment right now, clearly." And I'm just like, yeah, and like it's happened in relationship even, where we'll be talking, and I'll be trying to understand where the person's coming from and asking questions, and then also trying to convey where I'm coming from, right? Let's say in a disagreement or something like that. And this is at the point of resolution of this disagreement, and all of a sudden there will be like a explosion in my mind that is so heart centered, and it's just like this pure understanding of both parties, and it's like, whoa, and it just hits. It's really crazy.
I'm going crazy here because this is what I was just about to talk about. Oh, you said
He keeps doing that. He keeps doing
where I was going. You said exactly what I was about to say when you just talked about this channel right here in your head. You just talked about when your brain, when your self-reflected authority does its job, and then your brain gets it, because remember, there's no connection there. Your brain gets it. You have this other character, this other role. It's the thinker. And it's not just the thinker. Let me nuance this a little bit more. It is the channel 61 is the occult. It's knowing the unknowable. It's these sudden pulses of holy shit, that's the answer. And then
Yeah.
24 is creating a new way and inventing a way to explain it that is not the same way as the addictive ways that we've always explained things.
Wow. Guys, can I just say, I'm just gonna say right now, this is
like
doing more for
melted.
me than any healing session that
Oh
I've
my
ever
God.
done. Any, like, to be able to reflect back to myself, any conversation that I've had about what I might be experiencing. This right here, what you guys have created, is the most beautiful mirror I've ever looked into. So
Right.
thank you.
Thank
Genuinely.
you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Seriously, thank you so much. This is why
Yeah.
we do what we do, you know.
This is what this is the infinity. This is the I bowed at your feet and now you're bowing back and I'll bow to you, and we'll continue to do this as our divine appointments are shining on one another.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow.
I knew today was going to be awesome.
Mhm.
I could feel it.
Yeah. Wow.
So keep leading with that part of yours. And when your mind makes a choice, when you catch yourself saying, I think that I'm gonna, stop it. Stop it, stop it. Your authority is not to think about things. Your authority is to self-project, is to project yourself into the places and spaces and relationships and environments that are for you. That is your authority.
And then allow the revelations to pop into the mind rather than trying to logically understand them and create them.
Beautiful that you just said that as well.
Yeah.
You just talked about your logical channel, this little black one that's right here. It's called 17. And what would bridge your split is what's called 62. And we, as human beings, in this Maya right now, when we're not aware, we chase what we think will make us whole, right? Marketing says, be fulfilled, find wholeness, blah, blah, blah. So we chase that thing. Well, part of your mythology, Zameer, is that you have 62 is what you think when you're in the Maya that you have to chase. And that is logical explanations of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that you do not have to find logic, be logic, none of those things. When your brain gets that download, that pulse is what human design calls it. When your brain gets it, then you are absolutely designed to be able to explain it, but not if you're looking for it. It's a natural part of your Taurus field, right? The natural part of your expression that happens once the pulse comes, then the explanation comes. It's not the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah. That's been my experience for sure. An example of this would be in 2018, I started intuitively practicing. Well, I heard about the no fap movement, right? So sexual transmutation of your energy and holding your seed, essentially. And cool. So it's essentially just for men not to masturbate, save their seed, and cultivate the sexual energy within your body so that you're not just spilling it. It's a life force energy, right?
I was celibate from 18 to 22 or to 20 for that reason.
Beautiful, beautiful. See, and so this was something that it caught my interest, but I'm like, why? I don't understand why. And I went through that journey, and I started to breathe into the base of my spine and send the fluid up my spine to my third eye, and it rocket fueled my awakening essentially. And
This
I
is
was able to
Dr.
read these.
Dispenza's work too.
Yes, yeah, he
I
talks about the
studied with him in
Kundalini.
Spain.
Really?
Mhm.
So, do you know Chris Duncan by any chance?
I feel like when you mentioned his name, I feel like I wanted to look him up and see his face. I know faces, not necessarily names.
I'm sure you know him.
Sure I do.
He's my coach. He studied with Joe as well for about 2 years. I don't know where he was studying with him, so there's a chance that maybe paths have crossed there.
Maybe so. Maybe so. That cerebral spinal fluid movement in the breath is such a powerful. This is where my first download experiences came, was through that experience.
Yes, yeah, totally. And now because I went through that awakening, then I went through a relationship that I didn't understand. I had entered it at a very immature space, or a very immature level in my growth of that understanding my sexual energy. And I was just like, well, now I'm just sexually radiating and I can attract any woman that I want. And so the unhealed masculine was kind of like, great, get a 10, right?
Yeah.
And going for that. And so I found my 10, right? And, and I entered that relationship, and it was 2 years of me learning, holy shit, do not try to save anybody. Don't try to awaken someone who's not ready to be awakened. You're going through this for you. Don't put
Yeah.
that. So I had all these understandings through that. And now I'm at a point
Oh,
where,
great, you got to do it with your 10.
yeah, awesome, right?
What a gift.
That's pretty awesome. And so now I'm at a point where I've finally taken some time to be alone. I met at my last partner, who we're still like best friends now, and there may be an opportunity for us to be together in the future, but we're working out things within our personal life right now. But it brought me to this book right here, Taoist Secrets of Love: Cultivating Male Sexual Energy. And holy shit, I don't know, like I'm not getting paid for this, but I feel like every man who watches this needs to read this book and really understand their sexual energy. I'll read you just some chapter titles so you can understand I'm sorry, I'm diving into this, so I feel like sharing it. Some of it is, so distinguishing between Qi and Qing energy, Qing being our sexual energy, Qi being the original energy, which created that. And it goes all the way to, how to cycle the male energy in the body. They have a female version of this as well by him and his wife. So in case any women are interested.
Cool.
You know, commonly asked questions on semen retention. Why can't women absorb yang energy directly from a man's sperm during normal ejaculatory sex? Something that we didn't know, right? And connecting on an energetic level. So a lot of Taoist secrets for years have been kept secret. And this guy went to about 3 different masters, learned about the secrets, and was given permission to bring it to the West. And now this book is the creation of that.
Wow.
All that to say, my heart was wanting this fulfillment. There was a void there that I was trying to fill with other women for a large portion of my life. And finally the answer came, and it was like this. I rediscovered this after like intuitively practicing that, and the dots connected, and I had that brain moment again where it was just like, boom, okay, this is one of the many things that you can do to go ahead and achieve what you're looking for. So I that was just a cool culmination
I
of
love that. Yes, that is exactly it. Pulling from the unknown or the occult. It's about the occult. So it's
the
not
occult. Yes, that's where it was. Yeah.
Yes. It's about the occult. And that is absolutely the information that you will pull. Whereas if you had the other ones, you would pull about truth or about illumination or different areas. But this one is about the occult, is what you bring into this life.
Beautiful. And then through my experience of this, I would express new ways of through my experience, how I experienced it, give it to the world. Is that correct?
Yes, because gate 24, that new knowing of 61 comes into this gate 24. And 24 looks at, we have patterns of, we have ways of being sexual. We have white tantra, pink tantra, red tantra. We have breath work, we have celibacy, we have cuddle puddles, right? We have all of these ways to share and sublimate our sexual energy. This is a brand new thing from the East coming to the West. You are bringing this new, not the addictive way we've always done it, but something new into the way that we sublimate our energy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And almost like with that fifth line energy, it really, how she said the 5 C's things that not everybody sees, that almost like, I mean, they are called the heretics. So you're kind of saying like, this is something that I see in society that could be so much more expansive. I'm not going to say better, but more expansive. Like you're bringing that new truth forward in a universalized way. And then, as a projector, you're bringing it through an invitation. So those that see you and are ready to work with you will receive that guidance. Versus, it's funny how he mentioned in your relationship, you said, I totally learned not to tell people, I don't know how you worded it, but not to tell people what to do. And that's, in my opinion, one of the challenges for a projector as well. So yours is a little layered with what you see as the 5 and also what you see as the projector, and wanting to give that guidance. But now that you're coaching, it's all coming through invitation for the most part. Yeah.
Right. People are paying for the service. So I know that they were interested. And so there's that level of kind of, it's like, here, the door's open. Welcome.
Mhm.
And if you enter the door, this is what you'll get. And if you
Yes,
want that, come on in.
That's
absolutely.
beautiful. That is
Mhm.
billboarding at its finest. And Zameer, if you're billboarding from your identity, who you are, that's where the billboard comes from, not from here.
Perfect.
And I just
Be-
wanted to offer to the listeners, if you are a projector, she's talking about billboarding, which is a strategy for projectors. So knowing that if you can just talk about the things you love, uh, it's like you're putting a billboard up of saying, this is what my craft is. This is what I love. You're not telling people, this is what I can fix you with if I just only could tell you what to do. It's like, hey, this is what I love. This is what I'm skilled at. This is my passion. Here's the billboard. Here's the
Watch me.
number. Call
Look at
me if
what
you
I
need.
did. Watch this. Oh my gosh, this is what happened. Blah, blah, blah. We are watching the movie of Zameer, and oh my gosh, when I see who he is, not what he thinks about, when I see who he is, I want him. And then I come to you, and now you get the invitations that are needed. Whereas if you take a season off to create a program from your mind and put it on the internet for 19.99, that's not going to work.
Got it. Got it. Very, very divine timing, guys. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, it's so much
Perfect.
fun.
I'm in the middle of planning my Costa Rica retreat in June, and so this is like I'm planning everything and like the curriculum,
Mhm.
and I've hit a halt in it for the last 2 weeks, and it's coming up, and I'm like, well, it's coming up. What do I like? I gotta have something ready, and I've realized that that's exactly the realization that I've been kind of having internally, which is like, just how did you do it? How did you create your business? That's it. Yeah,
Yeah, beautiful.
awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Great confirmation.
Um, I mean, I can talk about this forever, but I think one more thing I mean, I don't know if you want to go somewhere else. I'm sure you do, Dani, but something else that I want to talk about is that you um, don't have motors defined. What this means is that your energy to do, to be, to show up for things, your energy comes from invitation, from people who light you the fuck up.
Yep.
That's where your energy comes from. So when you're in your mind trying to make a plan and you go out there and do it, you're not going to work. You're not going to have energy for that. Your
Right.
energy, you get infused and enlightened through other people's invitations, through when people recognize your greatness. Those are your people. Not everybody is your
Got
people.
it. Yeah.
And
Wow.
when those people who are your people come into your world, you feel them so deeply. You feel the
Feeling
collective.
it right now, guys.
Huh?
Feeling it right now, guys.
You feel emotions, you feel their need to survive, you feel their pressure to prove themselves, you feel their battery power. It could feel like a zoom, 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 zoom in your body. You feel their deepest fears. So
Mhm.
you are able to take all of that into their body, and of course you can see their blind spots
Mhm.
when you are taking all of that into your body, because you can feel it and categorize it. So when a person who is non-emotional feels a person's emotions, who is emotional, the
Mhm.
person who is feeling the emotions is just spitting them, right? I'm not feeling them, I'm spitting them. The
Mhm.
person who is undefined emotionally is receiving them, saying, ooh, that tastes like this, that feels like this, and putting it in the wrong category, like, ooh, 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 you know? And so your wisdom in all of those open centers that you have is that you are taking what people feel and categorizing them as what it is. Whereas if I'm the feeler, I'm lost in the feeling. You are able to be the observer who catalogs my feelings, what I'm spitting at you. Does this make sense?
Beautiful. Yes.
And so I invite you, Zameer, not to get hijacked
Mhm.
by anyone's emotions, by fear, by not knowing when enough is enough. When your body says to stop, my dear, please stop. Because sometimes you can get caught up in other people's excitement and other people's energy and other people's flow. And what that's going to do, my dear, is take away your connection to the divine. it's going to make a dissonance. So what I'm saying to you is that you are a self-expressed vehicle that is here to bring the occult to the world through your self-expression. Everything else you feel is someone else.
This explains a lot why I put my hands on my heart so often.
Mhm.
It's something that I do, and I didn't realize. Like, yeah, of course, I've been taught through my awakening and the people that I connect with that that's a very powerful thing to do. But there is so much truth to it for me.
Yes,
Yeah, thank you.
you're very welcome. We could talk for hours.
We could.
Yeah.
No, thank you for that.
Mom.
I feel like that was a beautiful, when you said I probably had something to say, I didn't. I was thinking, okay, I guess we'll wrap up now. But that was like the beautiful last little, glimmer or spark to add to the conversation. So thank you, Brandy.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
well, this was awesome. I wanted to also mention, thank you for sharing that book. So whoever's listening, if you have interest in it, I'll go ahead and drop it in the show notes. I'll put a link. So if people do want to go purchase, and no, we're not sponsored, but just as a resource, just so if people are interested, I want to provide that down below along with all of your information. So that way, if anybody wants to feels your resonance and it makes sense for them and they want to come receive some guidance or just check you out, they can. Did you want to also verbally just share like your platforms or ways people can find you?
Sure. Yeah. So my main platform is Instagram, and my handle is at NBL, so at Nothing But Love Zameer, NBL Zameer. And then my Facebook, you can find me Zameer Kurji, or my verified Facebook page, which is NBL Zameer. And it's funny, it was verified for music purposes, but now I've switched the whole content right now, and it's just, the brand is a little bit more expansive. So yeah, NBL Zameer. And then if anyone would like to explore quantum alignment coaching and operating from a heart-centered perspective of, creating in your life in the areas of family, fitness, finance, and fulfillment is kind of the 4 quadrants, but it goes so far beyond that. And all the areas that you want to balance your life in. I have a Quantum Boost Masterclass, and it's you get coaching twice a week live on Zoom with the Quantum Recode session at the end of each coaching call. And it's a group coaching format. And because I did high ticket coaching and it didn't resonate, and I wanted to hit more width than just, up my finance game, I feel like I can be perfectly taken care of by having 200 students that are paying $39 a week versus, one student that's paying, $3,000 for a month or whatever. So yeah, we've created it so that it's thanks to Chris Duncan, affordable with his business model of $39 per week for coaching. So, and you get 2 sessions. And then also, if you want to come to Costa Rica, just slide into my DMs.
Right. My best friend she's a 3-5 and she's going to Costa Rica, I think in June. So I'll have to pass that along and just see if she maybe she'll come. Maybe you guys will link up. You never know.
Awesome.
Thank you for being here. This is so exciting. Like I'm so stoked about everything that just happened. So
yeah, this is beautiful. Thank you, Zameer. I really, really appreciated getting to know you and being able to see your soul. And I'm so excited to actually put a vessel to the arm that I've been walking with.
Oh, thank you so much, love. I appreciate you. And Dani, thank you as well. This was incredible. I want to come back. So maybe
definitely.
Whenever the podcast develops in a year, I'd love to come back. And then I'd like to invite you both to my podcast as well. So we'll talk about that offline. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.
There you have it, everybody. We officially have kicked off season 2 at Beyond the Bliss podcast. Thank you again, Zameer, so much for being here. I could never put into words how much it meant to me and Brandy to have you there with us for our first episode of the new season. Thank you so much for just diving right in and just being brave and just so vulnerable, and for all of the work that you're doing here for the collective. We both see you and deeply appreciate you, and we're so happy that you are just in our lives. So thank you so much. Thank you, everyone who's here listening. I hope you loved what just happened here today. I wanted to remind you that everything that you could think of to get in touch with anyone is down in the show notes below for you. So just scroll on down. I've put Zameer's contact information. I've put some website links for Quantum Collective and things like that. And then, as always, if you want to reference the charts of myself, Brandy, or Zameer, you can head over to Instagram at Beyond the Bliss Podcast. You can also catch this episode on YouTube if you want to put a face to all of our voices and names. So on YouTube, it's just Beyond the Bliss Podcast. So thank you so much for being here. I love you all. And I'll see you next time, which will be on the full moon. So every new moon and full moon, I will catch you guys for new episodes and new content. And I'm sending all my love until then.